Okay, we're going live. As I let people in, so just a second. Cool. Okay, hi. We're live streaming. I'm gonna let people in. Stephanie, you hear me okay?
You sound amazing.
So do you. I love it. Okay, and people on Fridays, they usually just kind of trickle in.
Of course, they're realtors, right?
I know, right? We're on our own time.
I love it. But those that show up on time, they want to make the most money, right?
Right. My dad always said, if you're on time, you're 5 minutes late. So
That's right. Military man must have been.
military man, you know. Okay, so we are right on time. I'm going to just let people in. I'm super excited about this. I'm going to record it as well. Okay. So we'll get started, then I'll let other people in. Happy Friday, everybody. Good
Happy
morning,
Friday.
Rockstars. I'm super excited about this conversation because I know we've had a lot of conversations about commercial and residential, and I know enough about commercial to be dangerous, which isn't very, very helpful. And there's a lot of questions, not only from people wanting to be in commercial, wanting to do residential and commercial, but also on the attraction side. So I seek wise counsel, and I always bring in the best of the best. And so today is Stephanie Gilezan. She is a rock star. If you guys haven't had a chance to meet her in the past, at any events in the future, make sure to introduce yourself. She used to be the director of commercial. So she was really in the forefront of that group, building and scaling it and growing it. She also was director of broker ops. So she's got a lot of experience and history with eXp, but she is a rock star commercial expert. So I asked Stephanie to come in and just give us all an overview of commercial. She talks fast like me, so get ready to take lots of notes. And plus we're streaming this live in Workplace, the Tribe, and I've got it recorded. So we're going to talk commercial, and then it'll leave some time for questions as well. We have about 45 minutes today because you all know we have the Phil Jones conversation starting in an hour. Stephanie, my friend, thank you
Awesome.
for being here.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
The Tribe, and I'm going to let you run with it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody. And like Elizabeth said, I talk fast, so feel free to put comments, questions in the chat. Feel free to raise your hand. I want this to be interactive because I want you to walk away from this today so damn pumped to go out and attract commercial agents. This is prime time, you all. When we were launching eXp Commercial, we were in COVID, and COVID was a little bit scary for commercial agents because, you know, offices were closed, stores were closed. They weren't really ready to make a change because they didn't know what the future was going to hold. Now we've come out of COVID. We've come out of some of the most expensive property sales in commercial real estate, and now the market has stalled a bit. It's stalled because we've got all this issue as it relates to interest rates, okay? And in commercial real estate, you all know as well as I do, I'm sure, that you don't get 30-year notes in commercial real estate. A lot of times you're doing a 5-year ARM, you're doing a 10-year ARM. Well, a lot of those loans are coming due, and it's forcing people into a world that they're not familiar with because they don't know what it's like to go from a 3% interest rate into a 10% interest rate. But more importantly, I've been on the calls this week with the managing director of all of Cushman and Wakefield. I've been on calls with CBRE, Richard Ellis. I've been on calls with, and I'm asking them these questions, and I'm saying, what are your brokers doing right now? They're scared. They're telling me this. They're scared because in so many markets, the business has stalled. They're not doing as many deals. So why is that important for us here at eXp? Well, because at eXp Commercial, it's an 80-20 split with a $20,000 cap. I've put some slides together for you guys, which will get shared out after the call. But one of the biggest things about commercial real estate is that these agents and brokers are on 50-50 splits. They're on 60-40 splits. I brought a guy into eXp Commercial about 2 months ago. He just had his first closing. He was formerly with a broker with a 60-40 split. He would have owed them 40%. His first commission check through eXp Commercial was $938,000. Somebody do the math and tell me what he would have paid his old broker. Over $400,000. Guess what he paid at eXp? $20K. 20K. Okay. So this is the time to have the conversation about how do you make more money doing less deals? Would you react positively to that comment if someone approached you? Absolutely. Everybody's like, wait a minute, how can I make more money doing less deals? Well, you've got to learn how to keep more of your money. And that's what we're going to go through today. So I'm kind of going to start at the beginning, but make sure that you all are aware that eXp Commercial is not just built for commercial real estate. It's also business brokering, business sales with or without real estate and ancillary services. And so when you're approaching these commercial guys and gals, they might be solely on mergers and acquisitions. And that is okay because we're built for that service. All right, so we're going to get into, Bianca, if you don't mind muting, that would be amazing. There's a little feedback going on. Thank you. So let's talk about the important topic. Make more money even if you do less deals. eXp is a borderless brokerage. Why is that important? Well, 99% of commercial real estate firms in the United States of America, I don't care what brand they are, I don't care if they're independent, I don't care. They're territorial. What does that mean? They bought the rights to a certain area. Maybe it's a handful of zip codes, maybe it's a handful of cities, but they have only bought the right to do business in that area, especially if they're with a franchise. 99% of all commercial firms that have a national brand recognition are independently owned and operated franchises. Here at eXp Commercial, we don't have borders, right? We're one brokerage in all 50 states. So what does that mean for a commercial person that you're approaching? Are you limited to the area that you can do business? And they're going to say, yes, I am. You know, if they're in Phoenix, Arizona and have an opportunity to do a deal in Nevada, they're saying, well, I can't do that deal because I got to give it to the office in Nevada. Well, guess what? Here at eXp Commercial, we absolutely can. Because we're the only firm that can honor license portability. And I'm going to get into that. And this is what's going to blow your mind. And this along with the 80-20 split with a no more than $20,000 cap is why eXp Commercial, if it had nothing else, that's why it's worth making the change. If it had nothing else, that's why it's worth making the change. So those are the things we're going to plug into today and make sure that you master it before we get off this call. Another big thing that we're going to talk about is when you look at these agents' titles, they're usually an asset class specialist, okay? And what's happening with these asset class specialists is maybe they're the multifamily guy, or maybe they're the office guy, or maybe they're the industrial guy. Well, what's the problem with that in these firms is if the office guy gets an opportunity to do an industrial deal, he or she can't touch it because it's not in their lane. Here at eXp Commercial, hey, you can take as many lanes on as you want. You can represent as many types of property as you want as it relates to commercial real estate. So the third big thing that is important, okay? Now, we've talked about the one brokerage and not a franchise and why that is extremely important. Let's talk about the tools, okay? The tools that eXp Commercial is providing is worth $3,200 if you're an agent outside of eXp Commercial. But for $250 per month, they get these tools. They get billed out for their marketing center, for their advertising syndication, for their offering memorandums, for their property websites, for their documents vault, for anything that they need, their presentations, their proposals. It's all there. Then they get national access to Reonomy, which is data for the entire country. What are agents using Reonomy for? Well, right now, what my team does, we use Reonomy to tell us who has a loan coming due, right? We can do it for all the United States. We can hone in on certain asset property classes. We can utilize this to go after the low-hanging fruit and recognize who needs our help. Why do they need our help? Because when you've got a $20 million hotel that the note is coming due in September, the interest rate is going to go from 3% to about 10%. That's going to change their bottom line. That's going to change how much money that property is valued at. And so where Reonomy comes into play is not only is it a resource for us to do our comps and analytics, but it's a resource for us to go find off-market opportunities so that you can totally take commercial real estate by storm. And when people say, oh, well, you can't really do that, well, tell them to look up Stephanie Gilezan and go to gilezanglobal.com, because I've got listings in 39 states and 4 separate countries. And every single one of those came from me going after my data research that I'm doing on Reonomy, because it's right there for me to utilize. SkySlope, you all are familiar with SkySlope, but it's the transaction software. If they say, look, I don't know how to do documentation, I don't want to deal with contracts, we've got built-in transaction coordinators, okay? It's a little bit of a fee, but if they're landing a $200,000 commission check, they'll pay the $200 for a transaction coordinator to do all that stuff for them. So that does exist as it relates to eXp Commercial. And then forms. They're like, well, I've never done a deal in another state. What type of forms am I going to need? Well, AIR, CRE is every commercial transaction and business transaction that anybody would ever come across. And the commercial brokers and agents have access to these right inside of their SkySlope so that it's all there for them. So what we did when we built eXp Commercial was to make it as easy as possible, even for the 70-year-old old commercial dude that's never utilized technology in his life. We've made it that easy for them to come in and do business and never pay us more than $20K a year to do so. And that's huge, you guys. Oh, did Rudy have a question? Did you see on? Okay. All right. So we talk about build out and we talk about syndication. They're like, well, where are my listings going to get advertised? Well, once they put them up into build out, that software is doing all the hard work. It's going to put them automatically out on all the advertising platforms, Crexi, LoopNet, all of these that you see on the screen, so that they don't have to manually do that. A lot of these people are used to paying a 60-40 or a 50-50 split because there's a lady in the office doing everything for them. Well, we don't have the lady in the office doing everything for them, but we've built the technology so it will do everything for them. It's just all in how you explain and present it to them. All right. But you all are familiar with the 80-20 split, the 20K cap. The best way to phrase that to anyone you talk to in commercial real estate is I go right for the jugular. I go, what did you pay your broker last year? And I ask the question, because here's the thing, in commercial, we all want to pound our chest and be bigger than we are. So we're going to tell you the truth in what we paid our broker, because that's the definition of what our success was the years past. So ask the question, out of curiosity, what did you pay your broker last year? And when they tell you 50, 60, 100, 300, $400,000, you can guess and say, oh my goodness, at eXp Commercial, once you make 100,000 in gross commission income, you earn 100%. And they're going to be like, what? And say it like that. At eXp Commercial, once you make $100,000 in gross commission income, you earn 100%. The reason why I phrase it that way is because we're familiar with caps because we're at eXp. The KW commercial guys are going to be familiar with a cap because they have a cap. But the rest of the people, when you say there's a cap, they don't even know what a cap is. So just tell them this way. At eXp Commercial, once you make $100,000 in gross commission income, you earn 100%. You know, we know how important it is to have international collaboration. In commercial real estate, it's even all the greater. I represent hotel groups that not only own assets here in America, but they are buying assets in Portugal, in Spain, in France, you name it. And so it's heavily important that when you're in commercial real estate, that you have access to an international collaborative network. And we absolutely have that here at eXp. Okay, I've closed a deal in Dominican Republic for $85 million a couple years ago because eXp is open for business there. So the global expansion and the international collaboration is definitely important for them to think about, because those opportunities out there exist. And especially right now with the US and what's happening in the economy, a lot of these people that are very cash rich are looking at international land to invest in, whether it's hotels, casinos, multifamily, you name it, they're looking to do that. And so this has helped me tremendously pick up a lot of corporate clients that prior to eXp, I couldn't land them because I had no international connections. Now with eXp, I do. And so that's heavily important for them to recognize. All right, so we're going to talk about license portability. And I don't know why this screen changed the way it did, but We're going to talk about this. And again, don't forget, I'm going to send out these slides for you guys. But what is license portability? In commercial real estate, license portability was enacted in 2006. Because commercial real estate takes place in interstate lines, they made it easy for us to do business. So what that means is you have cooperative states. Cooperative states means as long as I'm working with a local brokerage, I don't hold a license, but I can go into that state and do business. And everybody says, well, you got to have a local brokerage. Well, what is eXp Commercial, you all? eXp Commercial is opened in all 50 states. They are a local brokerage because they're licensed in all 50 states. And so what we did to land this when we were building eXp Commercial is that all the cooperative states and all the physical states, we have designated managing brokers that hold the license for eXp Commercial. They get paid a paycheck every other week. What do they get paid a paycheck for? Oversight, compliance, to hold our licenses. What else do they get paid for? They get paid at eXp Commercial to make sure that we can honor license portability in a way that no other firm can. So if you look up my listings, you'll see, well, Stephanie, you live in Kentucky. How do you have all this business in Texas? Well, Texas is a cooperative state. Clifford Bogart sponsors my license so I can go and list. I think I've closed $23 million in Texas this year, and I live in Kentucky, and my license is in Kentucky. But in commercial real estate, it is a cooperative state. So what does that mean? Instead of me, prior to eXp Commercial, I used to have to refer off those opportunities. Now I get to keep my clients. I don't have to bring another brokerage in. I don't have to give away any of my commission. It's mine to keep because I'm with eXp. This is why a little local girl from Louisville, Kentucky has listings in 39 different states. There's 44 states in the United States of America that allow for license portability. There's 50 states, guys. What does that mean? There's 6 that say, we're turf states, don't touch us. So there's only 6 states where I would then have to refer off a deal. But all the rest of the 44, guess what they are? They're my farmland. Now think about that. In residential, your farmland, where you're marketing, what your focus is typically a handful of neighborhoods. When people ask me, what do you farm, Stephanie? You know what my answer is now? The globe. Why? Because I'm at eXp Commercial. Why not? I love this because when I speak to New York brokers or Jersey and some of the Chicago, and they're in these cities, they're in these bubbles. And they've never stepped outside that bubble because they've never been with a firm that has allowed them to step outside this bubble. Well, at eXp, they can step outside this bubble. And what do they get to do? They start making money again. They've been hindered because the markets aren't good in those towns. So this is why this is the #1 seller of why they should join eXp Commercial. It's more important than the 80-20 split with a $20,000 cap. This enables a commercial broker agent to truly build across the entire United States and multiple countries. And this is why most people don't know how to explain this, but this is why if the only thing you walk away with today, I want you to walk away with this, because it is the #1 seller. And when I go out and I'm attracting commercial agents to the company, I sit there and I ask them those questions. Where is your market? What are you focused on? And when they say that one city or that one place, I ask the question back, why? Why? I was on a call with a New York broker yesterday. I go, how's business? Slow. I'm struggling. Why are you still in New York? Why is that the only place you're focused on? Well, how can I focus on anywhere else? I said, how's New Jersey right across the way? He goes, well, I can't touch New Jersey. We have a different office in New Jersey. I said, with the eXp Commercial, you can touch New Jersey, you can touch Pennsylvania, you can touch any state that you want. I'm going to show you how. And then I showed him how. Where do you think he's doing today? He's filling out his independent contractor agreement, because it's either make the switch and make money or go broke and get out of business, because nothing's moving right now in his market. So it's time for him to expand. He knows how to do commercial deals. It's not like residential where you really got to be in an area to understand what market value is. With commercial real estate, it's all about penciling the deal. It's all about net operating income. It's all about the numbers, okay? And that's why it can be applied everywhere. I'm not an expert in 39 states, you guys, but I am an expert in numbers. I am an expert at selling businesses and commercial real estate. And that's why I can take that expertise and expand my business. I'm going to pause there and answer any questions anybody may have. And I don't know if there's something in the chat, but let me pull it up really quickly.
Hi, Stephanie. My name is Pamela Allen. My sister, we are a team. She's commercial, and I don't think she's on here. So I'm asking the questions because I'm freaking out right now. Okay, so oh, great. That's exactly what I was going to ask is because you don't necessarily know the land, like you said, you sold in Dubai, you sold in Texas, and you're in Kentucky. How you do it by numbers. So do we just need to do the training to make sure that we become like Stephanie? How does that work?
Absolutely, guys. You know, I didn't become who I am overnight. It was years and years of experience. I've been in the business since I graduated college, which was 1999. So I'm getting ready to come up on my 25th year in this industry. And, you know, here's the thing, when you're selling multifamily, when you're selling retail, when you're selling, you know, income producing properties, it's all about cap rate, right? It's all about what do the numbers say as it relates to income. So that you can apply everywhere, okay? It's where you get with land, you know, what's it entitled for? What's it worth? Right now I have land deals in Austin, Texas, actually on Lake Travis. I've got deals in Ogden, Kansas. I've got deals in Colorado. And basically that is a niche of mine. I'm a developer personally. So, you know, that is where learning how to market those types of properties is trying to do all your due diligence up front. And so basically, when I get an opportunity for a land listing, I'm going to see what its highest and best use is. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to call upon, if I think it's going to be the next single family residential community, or if I think it's better suited for multifamily, I'm going to call people in that market and I'm going to ask these questions, right? And I'm going to let them know where it's located. I'm not going to tell them exactly what it is, but I want to get the feel. I want to get the health of the climate, and I want to see what the demand is. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to the public there, to the mayor if I can, or city councils, and I'm going to ask questions. What do you lack currently in real estate that you need more of? And the reason I want to do that is because if I have to go through a zoning change with that property, I want to get their buy-in up front. And the best way to get their buy-in is to support a need that they have. And so that's just years of experience. And what I would say to those things is there's more than just me at this company that do that. I would bring another broker in on a deal if you get those opportunities, because the best way to learn is to go through those opportunities. You know, I love education. Sit through a class, sit on Zoom and learn, sit in eXp world and learn. But here's been my rule this entire career. You can't sit in a classroom and learn how to lift weights and expect your body to transform, right? You gotta go physically lift the weights. It is best, and I did this early on in my career all the time, partner with an expert, because 50% of something is better than nothing, okay? So that's my advice from that.
Thank you.
So Stephanie Wilkinson said in the chat, from your experience, is LoopNet enough versus the agent paying for CoStar? So LoopNet is advertising, and CoStar and LoopNet are the same company. So I think your question was, is Reonomy enough versus the agent paying for CoStar? Guys, I make a lot of money. I pay for CoStar. I actually pay about $1,400 a month for myself, and you know, because CoStar they don't want access is shared. So I've got myself and my team members that I pay for. The reason I have to subscribe to CoStar is one, I've had it since 2000, But two, there is lease comps on CoStar, and I do lease comps. And so I need access to lease comps. Reonomy lacks the lease comping data. They're getting better, but they're not 100% there yet. If somebody is not doing leasing, they do not need CoStar. Reonomy is enough.
Thank you for that info.
Absolutely. All right.
How much
Any
is that
other?
Reonomy?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, I'm Kristen, Pam's sister. So I do a lot of commercial real estate, and I just cut off my CoStar LoopNet because I do it when, I do about 2 or 3 deals, at a time. So I'm not trying to spend $1,400 a month,
Yeah.
I actually cut mine off. But the question is, how much this new program that you're talking about? I missed what you were saying about it earlier, but how much is that if you were to purchase that?
Reonomy is included with the $250 a month at eXp Commercial. So you get all those tools for just the $250 a month. If you were to go and subscribe to Reonomy on your own, it's going to cost you $498 a month.
Wow. So $250 a month plus the you said then the cap, you once you sell $100,000,
You're 100%.
You're 100%. That's it. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And then now what if you're on the so right now I'm doing residential, but I still have done commercial deals on this residential side.
And that's okay.
My question is, it's okay to do that? Because that's the question, should I switch over? And I don't know if that's the best thing for me to do.
So let me answer that, okay? And this is important. eXp Realty is a Realtor affiliated brokerage. So when you're licensed with eXp Realty, you have to be a member of a board of realtors and the MLS. eXp Commercial is non-realtor affiliation, okay? So
Correct.
when you're in markets, like my market of Louisville, Kentucky, there is no commercial real estate on our MLS. They don't allow it. It's its own separate thing.
Same thing.
We don't need to pay for a board of realtor membership because we don't use the MLS. Certain areas, secondary and tertiary markets, they do in fact allow commercial real estate on their MLS, and those are small markets. And so those people need to join eXp Realty in order to be that realtor affiliated, unless they can cut a special deal with their MLS and do a one-off subscription, because eXp Commercial is not a member of those. So that's really the big difference. Aside from it's $250 a month because you're getting $3,200 worth of tools for $250 versus eXp Realty's $85 a month, but you get 0 commercial tools. So it just depends on what people are after and what their market says they need to be for affiliation. Okay.
Awesome. So if you are part of that, I forgot the name of what you called it. It's not a LoopNet, but the software that we
Reonomy.
Reonomy. Okay. If you're part of Reonomy, so I know how, if you have to pay for your listings to be up on LoopNet. So Reonomy will allow your listings to actually be up for everyone to see on LoopNet and CoStar and everything else.
That's build out. That's actually build out. Reonomy is data research.
Okay.
Build out is marketing.
And build out, you have to pay for that.
It's part of the $250.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pam, for telling me to get on. Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. Another big thing that I want to bring up today, because in commercial real estate, when we were, when Glenn asked me to help get eXp Commercial built, and I had worked on it behind the scenes starting in February of 2019. One of the things that we did is we polled over 1,500. We hired a third-party market research company to go out and interview over 1,500 commercial practitioners. We asked everything from what technologies they like to use, from what they wish they had and they didn't have access to healthcare. And out of the 1,500 that were interviewed, 42% of them had zero healthcare. They didn't have access to it. I mean, it was crazy. So eXp agent healthcare is an extremely important conversation to have. It's not number one or number two. Number one is license portability. Number two is no territories and no borders. And number three is make more money by doing less deals because you're going to keep more of your money. But number four is healthcare, you guys. It's that high on the list as something to bring up because you just don't know if that's going to be enough for someone. I've brought in several people that healthcare, you know, they love the split, they love the technology, but healthcare was a big issue for them. And that alone, they said, look, if you didn't have this good of a split, if you didn't have the cap, I'd still would have come because I finally have healthcare for the first time in 8 years. So that's huge. All right. Any other questions? Okay, at eXp Commercial, you still earn stock. You still have the ability to icon. The icon program is a little bit different than realties because you got to earn $500,000 in gross commission income in order to icon. But listen, in commercial real estate, $500,000 in gross commission income is not unheard of. Okay. I mean, the guy that came in and closed that first deal with eXp, he already iconed on one transaction. I mean, that's huge. So, you know, he gets his entire cap back in stock. So you have those ability. Workplace is another way to show them because look, the referral network for you guys at Realty, I get so many referrals every single week because residential agents find these opportunities and who do they give them to? Us at Commercial, and it's phenomenal. So, you know, I think right now out of my listings, I think I've got close to 200 million in listings that were referrals from eXp Realty agents. So a lot of these guys and gals are at these small offices. The average commercial office in America is about 12 agents. That's it. All they are networking with are those 12 people. They've never even thought to network with residential. And so especially you being part of this amazing organization that Elizabeth Riley has built these years, think of all the opportunities, all the referral opportunities just within your group that you can be offering out to these commercial people that you get to join eXp Commercial. It's a huge selling point. It's something they never thought of, but if you open up Workplace and show them the conversations that are going on and all the money that's passing hands, they won't be able to unsee that. So show that to them. It's hugely important. Of course, we have live training 50 hours plus a week, tons of things going on as it relates to education and training inside of eXp Commercial. So if somebody's looking to get into the commercial side, absolutely this can be the company for them. Education is huge. Even Jim Wong has said it over and over again. We want to make sure we build a company that trains agents the right way so that they will stay with us, because if they're not making money, they're not going to stay. So training is top notch at eXp Commercial. All right. Revenue share still exists. You know, we all revenue share. They have that ability. I never bring up revenue share ever. Majority of the people I've attracted, they're signing their ICA and they go, what is this revenue share section? I go, that's sprinkles on the cupcake. And I'm going to get to that later. Let's get you onboarded. Let's get your system set up. Let's get you acclimated. Let's get you doing business. And then let's focus on revenue share when you're ready. And the big thing about that is if you start with revenue sharing, commercial agents, they don't get it. And it's the number one thing that turns them off. Don't even go there with them. Talk about how they can expand their business. Talk about that license portability. Talk about how they don't have to stay in their lane. Talk about how the entire globe can be theirs to market to. Don't talk about rev share. That's just my 2 cents, but look, I've done great at bringing people on, and I don't talk about rev share. It's not something they want to talk about. We talked about the business brokers. We are part of the IBBA, which is the International Business Brokers Association. So if they ask those questions, yes, the answer is yes, we get discounted membership. So for all those certified business intermediaries, they do get a discount when they join eXp Commercial that they probably don't receive now at their current brokerage. So just one more thing to bring up. There is an advisor program. Y'all are familiar with the mentor program at eXp Realty. At eXp Commercial, there is an advisor program. So if they are a junior in the business, they don't have the track record in deal flow, they will be assigned an advisor that's been in the business, that's been certified through eXp Commercial to help them along the way to achieve. So that's all there as well too. So, all right, I'm going to pause there. Elizabeth, how are we doing on time?
We are good. We are,
Okay.
yeah, we're great.
Okay, cool. All right.
Chris Reed has a question in the chat, Stephanie.
Okay, go right ahead. Let's look at it. Okay.
If a residential agent at eXp comes across a multifamily deal with commercial, can they do the deal, or does a
No,
commercial
they
agent
can do the
do
deal.
it?
Chris, you can do the deal. You guys are more worried about compliance today. I want you to go out and attract.
Well, that's the thing
Hi,
too,
Stephanie.
Stephanie. I want to, as far as the attraction piece, you mentioned it, commercial is like one of our best kept secrets right now.
It is.
And I want people to understand the opportunity, because commercial, how many do we have in commercial right now, Stephanie?
Honestly, I don't know the exact number, but I think it's around 700. And
Okay.
that's
I'm
crazy.
hearing, yeah, I'm hearing around 700 or 800, but here's the cool thing about that. I have the gift of hindsight, right? When I came to the company, there were 400 agents in residential nationally.
Yeah.
Okay, think about that, 400 agents. Everybody thought we were crazy, they didn't understand, but those that understood the opportunity came on board, and now we're at almost 90,000 agents on the residential side. This is huge opportunity on the commercial side, because there's not that many people. There's opportunity to educate. Nobody really understands what commercial is doing. The capping is a huge advantage, because like
Yes.
Stephanie said, most don't cap. They don't even know what that is. And I recognize that with residential, a lot of people didn't even know what cap was.
Right.
So on the commercial side, it's almost unheard of. So y'all, if you have agents that are in the commercial space or that are interested in commercial, this is huge, not only for them, but also for you to grow your organization on that side.
Awesome. Marcus. Oh, where'd he go?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for all the information. And I do understand, as you mentioned, that this is meant to help us attract commercial agents, but this has kind of piqued my interest to say, hey, if you are residential agents, what would be the recommended steps to transition to become a commercial agent, and then start attracting and taking that path?
You know, it's probably, have you done any commercial at all? Or is it something? Okay. Well, you know, what I would do is sit through the commercial certification. I think they're doing it still every quarter. I think it's coming up here soon, Elizabeth, isn't it?
It is, and I think they're going to do another one at eXpCon as well. So there's a lot of the certifications going on there.
Yeah, so I would sit through that, because first and foremost, you need to learn the terminology. It's very different than residential. And the first thing that I do to identify on a cross sale that I'm working is I'm able to judge if they're new and how the transaction is going to be by them going, huh, what? So learn the terminology first and go through those certifications, just because that's going to help you tremendously. And then if you're going to make the transition, the advisor program is tremendous, because that is somebody that's been in the business 20 plus years. They've done millions of dollars worth of deals. They've earned millions of dollars worth of gross commission income, and they're going to be able to really help you come up with a game plan. That's a question I can't answer in 2 minutes. I got to have like 2 hours to do that. Okay.
No problem. You gave me a good next step, so I
There you
can
go.
take that and share it as well. Thank you so much.
I want to bring this up because I know so many of you are at residential. And when I was director of growth for eXp Commercial, I always had residential eXp agents come to me going, how in the heck can I attract commercial when I don't know anything about commercial? Guys, this isn't about you understanding commercial real estate. This is about you making sure you spread an opportunity that's going to change somebody's life. That's all it is. And so a simple script that I use, and this works for anybody, is, hi, Steve, I see you're in commercial real estate. I'm building my network for the industry and thought maybe we can connect and collaborate. Just ask the question. you know, just tell them why you want to connect with them, whether you message through LinkedIn or send an email or a text message or pick up the phone and give them a call, because majority of you don't have that commercial relationship. And, you know, every time I speak, I always ask, especially to residential agents, I always say, raise your hand if you've done a commercial deal, and there'll be like a handful of people that raise their hand. And then I ask the question, have you ever made referral money on referring a commercial or business deal? And nobody raises their hand. It's mind-boggling to me how you guys don't take advantage of another revenue stream called referral fees and start referring out business. But if you're an organization like Elizabeth's here, with how many you have now, Elizabeth? 20,000 people or close to it, probably?
No.
Yes. Think about all the opportunity, but think about the trillions of dollars of untapped referral money right in your organization.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even those that have smaller organizations, there's still, everybody knows people and referrals or other agents around the country. So there's a huge opportunity.
Absolutely. So start building the relationship, you know, ask them what they service in commercial, just learn about them. Don't EXP on them, just learn about them. And then drop those hints, you know, about, gosh, I'm part of a 20,000 residential agent organization that, gosh, we need to have you come in and be a speaker and teach us about commercial real estate. Invite them to the conversation, invite them to contribute. Wow them that way. How many people would sign up after that? They've never experienced things that we've experienced, you all. They're antiquated dinosaurs, most of them. They really are. Dave, you've got a question?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, from your perspective, with your experience, which markets, in your opinion, are the most popular that you're seeing across the country where commercial agents are popping out of that are successful? And is it dependent upon that housing market index, or how does that affect things? I'm just kind of curious from your perspective.
You know, that's kind of it's kind of a loaded question, all because there's a lot of markets that have paused a bit. Okay. You know, in certain asset type classes, you know, 3 years ago, self-storage. I mean, everybody was talking self-storage. Now self-storage is one of the worst investments you can go because they came in and saturated the market, right? So it really just depends on what those areas are. I wouldn't worry about focusing on those type of areas. Focus on the masses, you know, focus on who surrounds you. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and majority of my downline as it relates to eXp commercial is in California, for God's sakes. I mean, think about that. I didn't know these people, but man, I had something to tell them.
I was going to say, county is a really big hub for a lot of my partnerships that I have from a decade, commercial agents out there.
And I mean, you look at Texas, there's so much booming in Texas still to this day. I mean, I've sold a slew of Burger Kings we just closed on in Texas, and Carl's Jr.'s and a lot of different triple net portfolio opportunities down there. And, you know, these Texas brokers get so mad. They're like, how in the hell did you get this listing? And then, hey, I love it when they say that rude stuff to me, because I'm like, well, let me tell you about how I did this. It's all because of eXp commercial. It's all because I'm with a firm that is open in all 50 states and I'm using license portability like a you know what. And they're like, what? I mean, it's great, you know, but you can have.
You're creating that curiosity because, again, they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And you're also, Stephanie, you're brilliant at building the relationships, which is one of the things I always talk about. You build the relationship, the business will come. And so you're adding value in ways, and you're just dropping little nuggets, and it makes them think, and it creates that curiosity. And so that opens doors for conversations in multiple ways.
That's right. That's right. All right. We've got 2 minutes left, you guys. Who's got a question? Anybody? Did I wow you today? Have I made you think of a different way? I mean, Seriously, keep pumped up about it. To me, it's a no-brainer. If I wasn't still, and I always used to get on Elizabeth for this, so now I'm my own. Now I got to speak to myself. If I wasn't so into these transactions I was doing, I'd be the next Rob Flick. No, but you know what I mean? Just me applying a couple hours a week and having these conversations with commercial people, it's working. I've brought in 7 over the last 10 days. Because I've decided to spend my Fridays going back to basics and just reaching out to people. And honestly, a lot of times that when I get them on the phone, I'm like, hey, Dave, tell me about the market in Chicago. What's your specialty? And then I just shut up. It's the old Gene Frederick has put this into us forever. I just shut up and let them talk. And then I apply it when it's necessary. I've never given an eXp presentation. I've only had conversation. And that's what they're looking for. Thank you guys for coming in.
Anything else, guys? I told y'all she was a boss babe. This is awesome. Stephanie, I appreciate you, my friend. You always are.
My pleasure. I'll come anytime. Y'all are amazing.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll have you back in when there's a whole lot of questions, but I think with this group, we're going to start seeing our commercial numbers rise, and you're a big help there. So I appreciate you. We're gonna end a little early today for all of y'all on here. This same link in 15 minutes. Do not miss it. It's Phil Jones, exactly what to say. Okay, Phil Jones, if y'all don't know who Phil Jones is, just high level really quick. Stephanie, I don't even know if you know this, but he's an international speaker, award-winning bestseller author. He wrote Exactly What to Say. To get him to come into companies and come speak, I've tried to get him here to Austin, is $75,000. Okay, to go into his private masterminds in New York, it's $5,500 a seat. So he's coming in to just pour into our group and family tree with an eXp today in 15 minutes. So it's going to be live streamed in Family Tree, but it's also going to be on this link. So I would love for y'all to come in. Let's show him some love. I want to get him more ingrained in the eXp ecosystem. And so let's show up and get ready to learn and ask some great questions. And so I will see you guys in 15 minutes. Stephanie, thank you, my friend.
Thank you all. Good luck.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you guys soon.